Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Performing Arts and Tech Lab Industry Sharing, which is a culmination of a 9-month process for our 6 participating project teams in the Performing Arts and Tech Lab, organized by the National Arts Council, NAC, and in partnership with Esplanade Theatres on the Bay. My name is Natalie, and I'm from the Esplanade team. And this evening, we have the team from Dancing the Algorithm, also known as DATA. Their work thus far in the lab centers around the negotiation of the space between dancing bodies and computational logic, looking at generating and regenerating individually coded movement DNA to expand on the tools for dance making and performance. So do join the artists at their booths after their presentations if you have further questions for them. And we'll also have a free guided tour led by myself, commencing at around maybe a few minutes after the presentation ends for those who are interested. And thank you, and please join me in welcoming Dancing the Algorithm.
Yes, what is an algorithm? So my dance brain associated the algorithm with a really complex code. But now I know better. The algorithm is a set of instructions. Good evening, everybody. I'm Daphne. I'm an independent dance maker and educator. My practice looks at the dancing body encountering inanimate objects to duet, collaborate, collide to re-inform and re-engage the way I make and view dance. In the past 9 months, I have been working with Ernest Wu and Jake Tan from Serial Co. In a duet with and about data. But before we move on, as you can see, I'm the performer in the team, so they send me up to perform. But I also do want to, highlight who they are. So we have Ernest over there on the side, assisting with the performance. We have Jake in the back. And then we have Mary over there, who's been a really great help in managing the project. So what is the project? The project is Dancing the Algorithm, or affectionately known as DATA. And what we have been doing is looking at the intersection between computational logic and dance. And we have been using it to view the human body and technological tools as individual intricate algorithms, using them to redefine the way we make, view, interact, perceive dance and choreography through the lens of technology. So in this project, I have been thinking about how I dance. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So, what I just improvised was a really short improvised score and an improvised movement. That's very much my movement DNA. The movement that I just performed reflects my history, my background, my tradition, my encounters, and my experience. So, just like you, my dance is very distinct. It's been shaped by my own personal journey. My question to you is, what is your movement DNA? So aside from thinking about how I dance, how we dance, how do we dance collectively? In this duet with Serial Co, I've been invited to dance collectively with technology. To be more specific, dancing with different versions and iterations of myself that changes with time, state, labor, and the aging body, and allowing me to expand the notion of collective movement. So as I'm looking at the room tonight, I'm really wondering how each of you would dance your movement DNA, and then looking at how we can dance collectively, and exploring the possibilities of what this merging of collective movement can emerge different kind of choreographies. So, data. what is really important about data and why data? Data has been a cornerstone of this collaboration. The way we've been using data has been in different structures. The first one, we've been using past data. Past data to simulate, to study, to preserve, and to archive. Present data, present data, present data to duet, to interact, and to react. Now, as you're looking at the videos, you can see that we've got these little contractions on our hands and our head and our ankles. That is the motion capture system that we've been using in this project, which I will expound a little bit later. And then at the last of the structure and the data structures, we have future data. Now, what do we use future data for? Future data is for us to innovate, to inspire, and to evolve. The question is, how did we acquire this data? So as you can see in the previous videos, we purchased a consumer-grade motion capture system called Mokopi. Now, Mokopi has only 6 sensor points, 2 at the ankles, 2 at the wrists, 1 at the back, 1 at the head. We had an open call for participants. We had closed and open sessions where we asked individuals to contribute their own movement data. Concurrently, we also developed a movement framework for them to tease out this movement data so that there was a thread that tied all these movements together. What did we do with this data? We analyzed it. We cataloged, we experimented, and then we arrived at a point and realized that we only needed one single output. Why? Because we needed to reduce the number of variables. We arrived at the physical algorithm, the dancing body. Now, the process of this lab, many things unfolded. In order to keep tonight's sharing a little bit more succinct and summarized, I will take up some key points. So in the infant stage of the lab, we really shared our practice. We laid the groundwork. We took the time to understand each person's artistic practice, their lens, the way they understood their mediums, our mediums. We learned what needed to be learned. We experimented with what needed to be experimented. We experienced what needed to be experienced. And we embodied what needed to be embodied. Second in the process was dialogue. I think the team already decided that I talked the most, so that's why I'm here. But talking was really key in this process. Now, we use dialogue as a way to voice, to listen, to suspend time, to suspend thoughts in meaning-making together. At the same time, also diverting our attention in assessing each other's inquiry in this project. At the core of it, it was really about coming together as a collective, finding a way to host our individual inquiries and practice within this collaboration. At the third of it, clarifications. We always clarified what we were trying to do, refining the idea, working with the possibilities and limitations that were inherent within our medium and tools. Now, the last thing that I obviously forgot to mention, in every process, we always have fun. And for the sake of my teammates, we will not be presenting any embarrassing images, but I guarantee you that the process was fun and very much enriching. Now, questions, right? I'm sure you're sitting there and like, what is she babbling about? Because there will always be questions. So as the duet unfolded with Sirako and I, we had more questions than answers. What did we do with these questions? We took these questions in stride, use it to direct the project, use it to help us to establish the goals that we're trying to accomplish within the frame of the lab. Now, some of these questions were, firstly, how do we bridge dance and computation? I guess this is also one of the driving questions in this collaboration. What exactly is this collaboration? Can algorithms perhaps motivate dance and create a more creative impetus in dance making? Can dance motivate algorithmic processes? What would an archive of dance algorithms look like? So, keywords: archive, archiving, they are central words that were really part of this collaboration with Sirako and I. We had hoped to build an archive that holds a dance algorithms to perhaps preserve, exhibit, study, access, and perform the dance algorithms of a specific time. To what extent does the digital replace the physical? Do our bodies end where digital screens begin? Now, these questions are quite taboo in the dance world. I mean, dancers out there, correct me if I'm wrong, we're always in fear of the digital replacing the physical. However, in this frame of the project, what we're truly interested in is the dancing body and inanimate objects encountering technology and using this technology and encountering to displace our conventional perspective of art making and presentation. In other words, we're trying to find the meeting point between digital and physical. So what is the algorithm? Do you know what is the algorithm? It is a set of instructions. In this project, we were thinking perhaps an algorithm can inform us of how to move with our own movement DNA. Or perhaps the algorithm could churn out new choreography from old choreography. But we did not know. So then what is the performance score? Because after all, we are in the performing arts and tech lab, right? So something needs to be performed. And the questions that we were asking were, can the algorithm perform? Is it performative? Or what does the algorithm perform? But we were also not sure. However, we were really clear that the relationship between dance and computational logic was to search and expanded in different dimensions in the processes of dance and choreography. So in every lab, in every creative process, actually in every process, there will always be challenges. Now the challenges were multiple. If you meet Jake and Ernest later on after the presentation on the guided tour, they will tell you and list down the whole list of challenges, but I will pick out certain ones that were really key. Okay. In the earlier stage, we wanted to create a generative data movement set. Now, what that means is that it requires a huge volume of data. It also required a lot of time. The truth is, we're not data scientists. We're not computer scientists. Time was also duetting with us. Not smoothly. Time was kind of a limiting factor. So we needed to kind of downsize our goals and focus on what we were able to accomplish at this stage. Okay, the second challenge, software. Software is always a challenge for me, especially. So the software that we used was a consumer-grade software. There were limitations. We allowed the limitations to kind of craft the boundaries of what we were able to accomplish within this stage. And then by the time when we found out what was actually possible, new possibilities started presenting itself. And previously, when things that were out of reach became incrementally accessible. So the system, I mean, that's why we're all here today, right? To look at what the product is. So the system, what is the system? And what exactly is it? So honestly, we don't have a name for it right now. After all, we are still a work in progress. And if you're happy to propose a name, please come and find us. The system runs off a game engine and a reinforcement learning model. It reads from one model, outputs a two-dimensional blend space of archive motion data into another model. So when I was trying to read this out, it was very tacky for me. So in other words, keywords: system, game engine, reinforcement learning, taking physical data, transforming it into digital data, but still retaining the essence of the physical data. Okay, so it's a little bit confusing again, right? So I'm gonna kind of quickly show you in my language, which is like dance. So imagine whatever that I'm doing now is being recorded as data. And then you take this data, you insert it into the system. The system then churns it, reblends it, and put it in the washing machine maybe a couple of times. It brings it out, and then it becomes totally new choreography. But it uses the vocabulary that you just saw me perform. So that is the system. And I'm truly really excited because it feels like it's my personal AI algorithm. Now, the conclusion for today is, where have we arrived at the end of this lab? The algorithm, firstly, is not merely a construct or a code. The algorithm is the physical dancing body. Dancing the algorithm took the dancing body as the first step of algorithmic codes. We archived it, further fragmented it, and then transform it into digital algorithms or digital bodies. This also allowed us to find new ways to duet between the physical and the digital, highlighting infinite possibilities between dance and computational logic. So this question has been floating in the air for the past week. What is next? Many things that's next, but maybe I just want to highlight to you what's really at the top of our minds right now. What is next? We do feel that we need to refine the motion capture system. As mentioned, we've got 6 sensor points. To truly capture more authentic movement, a full body suit would be great, but you know that's quite expensive, but that's at the top of our list. Second, because also it's performing arts, right? I'm a performer. We are super keen in developing the system by including other physical algorithms, duetting with their digital algorithms to perform a performative score that can be an encounter and an experience. Now, I did not forget the word archive. I hope you did not. So archiving. Now, in the world of dance, or some of my colleagues in the dance world, please correct me, but in the world of dance, when we think of archive exists in a very two-dimensional form, primarily video and images. So as we look towards the future, right, three-dimensional movement, how do we archive three-dimensional movement? So this has been the end of phase 1 of Dancing the Algorithm. We are really excited to move on into the next phase. Thank you today for coming and attending our sharing. Jake, Ernest, me, Mary, and I will be at our exhibition area. Natalie will be doing the guided tour. Please come and chat with us. Promise we won't make you dance, but we're more than happy to share a lot more about our process. And again, if you have a name for the system, do come and speak with us. So thank you again, and have a really lovely evening, everybody.
Once again, thank you to the data team, Daphne, Jake, and Ernest. Feel free, again, as she mentioned, to chat with them at their booths after. So feel free to hang around and view the other teams as well in their exhibits and join a guided tour, yes, guided by me, before you leave for the evening. Do consider scanning the QR code. I think there's a QR code. No? Yes. QR code before you leave to give your feedback, sharing your experience with us here today. So thank you once again. I'll see you at the front of the exhibition for the guided tour. Thank you.